Welcome to the Justice Files. I'm Adam. Today we're diving into 18 cases of pure, unadulterated karma. These are stories of people who thought they were smarter than the law and more entitled than their neighbors. They were wrong. Let's begin with our first 6 stories of ultimate justice. Story 1. The $22,000 Mustang. My sister Sarah has always been the golden child who could do no wrong. When our grandfather passed away, he left a specific fund of $22,000 strictly for my younger brother's specialized heart surgery. Sarah found the checkbook in my father's desk and forged his signature. She didn't buy medicine. She bought a vintage Mustang and told the entire family it was an early inheritance gift from Grandpa. I didn't scream at her. I simply invited a fraud investigator from the bank to our Sunday family dinner as my guest. The look on her face when the police arrived at the front door to tow the Mustang was priceless. She's currently facing felony fraud charges, and the car is being auctioned to return every cent to my brother's medical fund. Story 2. The Karen and the Private Road. I live on a quiet, private gravel road that I personally pay to maintain every year. A local woman, a classic Karen, decided my road was her personal shortcut to avoid the morning school traffic. She would fly through at 40 miles per hour, kicking up rocks and nearly hitting my dog. I asked her 3 times, very politely, to stop. She laughed and flipped me off. So, I spent a weekend installing a legal heavy-duty industrial gate with a massive steel lock. The next Monday morning, I watched my security camera as she sped down the road, slammed on her brakes, and realized she was trapped. She spent 4 hours in the pouring rain waiting for a tow truck because she got stuck in the mud trying to turn around. I ignored her calls. Karma tastes like cold rain and mud. Story 3. The CEO's secret recording. My boss was a corporate bully who loved to humiliate interns and take credit for every $1-million deal I closed. Last month, he attempted to fire me to cover up the fact that he had been embezzling company funds into his personal offshore account. What he didn't realize was that our office smart conference system records every single word for quality and training purposes. I didn't go to HR. I went straight to the board of directors. I handed them a thumb drive containing 6 months of his verbal abuse and clear evidence of his financial theft. He wasn't just fired. He was escorted out of the building in handcuffs in front of the entire staff. I am now sitting in his former office running the department. Story 4. The $15,000 shed. My neighbor Dave decided that my backyard was actually his backyard. One morning, I woke up to find he had torn down our shared fence and was building a massive wooden shed 3 feet onto my property. When I showed him the legal land survey, he laughed and told me to sue him if I didn't like it. So I did exactly that. Not only did the judge order him to dismantle the shed within 48 hours, but because he destroyed a protected hedge during the process, he was fined triple the damages. It cost him $15,000 to remove a shed that only cost $5,000 to build. Now there is a brand new 8-foot-tall fence between us, and Dave isn't allowed to even look at my lawn. Story 5. The red wine wedding disaster. My toxic ex-girlfriend tried to ruin my wedding day by showing up uninvited, wearing a white lace designer dress. Her goal was to stand in the back and make a scene during our vows to prove I still belonged to her. My sister, who is a professional makeup artist and knows exactly how to handle drama, accidentally tripped while carrying a massive tray of red wine sangria right as the ex walked through the door. That white dress became a red nightmare in seconds. Security escorted her out before she could utter a single word. The entire incident was caught by our wedding photographer, and now she's the laughingstock of our entire town. Revenge is a dish best served in a wine glass. Story 6. The Scammer's Worst Nightmare. A low-life scammer tried to trick my 80-year-old grandmother into sending $5,000 in untraceable gift cards, claiming I had been arrested and needed bail. Luckily, I was actually at her house when he called. I stayed on the line, pretending to be her, and agreed to meet him at a local park to hand over the cash. My best friend, who is a sergeant in the local police department. We set up a sting operation within the hour. The scammer showed up expecting a confused old lady with a bag of money. Instead, he was greeted by 6 undercover officers and a one-way ticket to a holding cell. We found out he had stolen over $50,000 from seniors that month. Justice was served cold. Story 7. The Office Bully's Digital Trap. I had a coworker named Mark who was a classic credit stealer. For 6 months, he took my research and presented it as his own to the CEO. I tried talking to HR, but they did nothing because Mark was well connected, so I set a trap. For the biggest presentation of the year, I created a file that looked perfect but had one tiny flaw. I embedded a macro that, when opened on a computer not authorized by my encrypted key, would permanently lock the file and display a log of every document Mark had stolen from my folder over the last 6 months. In front of the entire board of directors, Mark opened the file. The screen went red, and my name flashed in giant letters across the room, followed by the evidence of his theft. He was fired on the spot. I got his promotion. Revenge is a dish best served in 4K resolution. Story 8. The Landlord's Frozen Bank Account. My landlord refused to fix the heating system in my apartment during the coldest week of January. I spent 3 nights shivering while he ignored my calls, claiming he was out of the country. I did my research and realized he hadn't registered the property as a rental with the city council. I withheld my rent legally and put it into an escrow account, then reported him for multiple building code violations. The city fined him $10,000 and ordered him to pay for my stay in a 5-star hotel until the heat was fixed. When he tried to sue me for the rent, the judge laughed and awarded me 6 months of rent-free living as compensation for the health hazard. Story 9. The Gym Grunter's Final Set. There was a guy at my local gym who thought he owned the place. He would scream during every rep, throw heavy dumbbells on the floor, and mock beginners who didn't know the proper form. One afternoon, he decided to bully a skinny teenager who was just trying to learn how to deadlift. What the bully didn't realize was that the quiet man standing right behind him, wearing a plain hoodie, was actually the new owner of the gym franchise. The owner stepped in, tapped him on the shoulder, and told him his membership was revoked effective immediately. The bully tried to argue, but the owner just pointed to the sign that said, "Respect is mandatory." He was banned for life, and the teenager got a free personal training session. Story 10. The Forged Will of the Greedy Brother. After my father passed away, my older brother suddenly produced a new will that claimed he was the sole heir to the family estate, including our childhood home. He told me I had 30 days to pack my bags and leave. I knew Dad would never do that. My lawyer and I did some digging and found that the signature was a clumsy forgery. But the real justice came when we revealed a secret video Dad had recorded with his attorney just a week before he died. In the video, Dad explicitly stated that he knew my brother might try something like this, and he confirmed the original will was the only valid one. My brother is now facing felony forgery and attempted fraud charges. He didn't just lose the house, he lost his freedom. Story 11. The Entitled Customer's $100 Lesson. I was standing in line at a busy cafe when a middle-aged man started screaming at a young waitress because they ran out of oat milk. He called her names and made her cry in front of a dozen people. He kept shouting about how he was a valued regular and demanded her manager fire her. I had seen enough. I walked up to the counter, handed the waitress a $100 bill as a tip, and told her she was doing a great job. Then I turned to the man and told him that his behavior was embarrassing for a grown adult. The manager, who had been watching from the back, stepped out and told the man he was no longer welcome in the cafe. He left in total silence, red-faced, while everyone in the shop cheered. Story 12. The Porch Pirate's Glittery Nightmare. Someone in my neighborhood kept stealing packages from my front porch. I lost over $300 worth of electronics in 1 week. The police said there wasn't much they could do without a clear face on camera. So I took matters into my own hands. I built a trap package, a high-end camera box filled with a compressed air glitter bomb and a 5-ounce bottle of industrial-strength fart spray. I also hid a GPS tracker inside. 2 hours after I put it out, the pirate grabbed it. My phone alerted me when he opened it in his car 5 blocks away. I drove there and found him covered in blue glitter, puking on the side of the road because of the smell. I called the police, handed them the GPS data, and watched as he was arrested for multiple counts. This has been the first episode of the Justice Files, 18 stories of people who learned that you reap what you sow. If you enjoyed this journey into ultimate karma, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay just.